1, 2, 3.
On the Texas A&M Sports Network from Learfield, welcome to the Coach Jimbo Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. Also brought to you in part by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit rudys.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. And by Bud Light, it's for the fans. Now, welcome to the Coach Jimbo Show.
Howdy, and welcome to the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented, as it is every week, by our friends at Capital Farm Credit. We're at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road in College Station. If you are in the area, still plenty of time for you to come down and join us. We'll be talking Aggie football for the next hour with head coach Jimbo Fisher. I'm Andrew Monaco, and whether you are listening all along the Texas A&M Sports Network, you could be streaming and watching Behind the Mic on the Texas A&M Football Facebook page, or you've downloaded the 12th Man mobile app or Learfield's The Varsity Network app. However you are joining us, thank you. We appreciate you doing that. We will look back at last Saturday's game against Ole Miss. We will preview this Saturday's game at Kyle Field against Prairie View. We'll have Jimbo talk about that matchup with the Panthers on Saturday. And also a special Saturday for the Aggie seniors. Those are just some of the topics. I know you guys have questions. I know I do. We'll get things started when the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit, comes back. This is Aggie football from Learfield. Hey, Madden fans, the Level Next Madden National Championship Esports Tournament is streaming now and is sponsored by Unilever, which will donate 1 million meals to Feeding America. Watch the best college student Madden players compete for $100,000 in cash by watching on Twitch. Just search Level Next GG. This is the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit, and we are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here at College Station. As I said off the top, that plenty of time to come in. We're going to talk Aggie football for the next hour with head coach Jimbo Fisher. Howdy, Coach.
How we doing?
I'm doing great. With Prairie View coming up on Saturday, seniors on Saturday, that will be one of the topics. And as I always ask you, after a game on a Saturday, you get a chance to see that film. Digest on Sunday. You get that first practice on Monday. What jumped out at you when you saw the film from Saturday's game?
The ups and downs of the game. I mean, how we didn't start very fast. We didn't execute offensively or defensively the way we needed to execute. They got momentum in the game in the first half. We could have answered some drives, whether we missed a block, threw a ball, dropped a ball, missed a run. Defensively, didn't fit, didn't tackle. Didn't come. I mean, they hit big plays. We had them backed up inside the 10 4 times, and they come out of there and move the ball. We did do a miraculous job of scrambling to create some turnovers in the red zone, tight zone, some goal line stand, which was awesome, but we needed to just stop those drives like we did in the second half, then offensively like we did. Then after all that's said and done, still 13, and you come back in 15, and then you come back and you get yourself in position to come out and score, then stop, score again, get a stop, miss a third and inches, which was we should have never done, but then we get a stop, drive right back down, then we have a chance to go ahead, don't make a play, do it again, miss a block on the 10, drop a ball on the 4, then kick a field goal, but you're still 15-13. 10 minutes to go, great, got 3rd and 11. And get a 3rd and 11 and drive. And the thing about it is the fight, the character to come back, the ability to hang. Like I always say, I always tell our guys, there's going to be sometimes in games when things don't go well. Minimize the damage. Manage the crisis. There's things, and we did that. Even though on offense, even though we didn't turn it over in the first half till the end. All right, so we didn't multiply, get frustrated, and add the things then. Defense found a way. They moved the ball like crazy, scored a couple times, but then they went for it on some things, and we made some stops. They got a 4th and 2 on one conversion. Then we stopped 2 others, had a fake field goal. We're in the game. Then to manage it and come all the way back, ready to go and take the lead. All right, we get a 15, should have, 15-13, don't, and then don't get to stop on defense. Then you're backed up, and you got to take, and then we have a ball goes through. Could throw it lower, could catch it, and those inches, we missed the inches. And it was the ups and downs. And the disappointing thing is I love the fight. I love that. I was disappointed because we have started really well in the last 4 games and played well. You got to learn to win when you're supposed to win and how you're going to win in some big games. That's the top of that mountaintop that we got to understand how to get over. And then people don't, it's a big difference. And get there. Now, it ain't from lack of want to or anything or preparation. We had good weeks of practice. Just relaxing and making those plays and then putting yourself back in that position. I mean, I felt really comfortable. I did. I said, okay, we got work to do, but I like where we're at. like our team, we just didn't make those plays on either side to make the difference in the game. And then eventually they did.
You made a comment after Auburn about Auburn's big plays were 7 or 8 yards. It wasn't the bigger chunk plays.
I mean, we were backed up inside of 10. They had a 25-yard run off the bat. They had a 53-yard run. They had a second 11 on the 12. They had a 32-yard pass. And it hit chunks and kept going in momentum. And you can't give those up. Big plays and turnovers. I talk about it all the time. And then in the second half, we started hitting our big plays. We started hitting big plays. They didn't hit big plays. And it was like a tale of two halves. And then when we didn't make the play at the end, we had a chance to go ahead. We had to catch. We could have really, I thought, got ahead. And we had to drive, going to 10. We missed. A play that we've ran, if we just block, just 2 steps, it's a wide word to 3 or 4 or touchdown. But I keep saying that. That's when it matters. Those inches, those critical times in the game, situational football. And we didn't make it. It was disappointing. Now, we've come back. We've practiced well this week. Their attitude's been good. They were very down Sunday and Monday. And, hey, you got to forget it, man. You got to move on. You got a lot of ball to play. We still got a lot to accomplish. We're still right there to have a chance to have a 10-win season, still be a top 10 team, finish out the right way, do things with pride. And we owe these seniors. These seniors have been an unbelievable part of this program turning and the cultural change and the things we've done here. And we owe these seniors to put them out in Kyle Field one last time to play our tails off for them and play a great game. And then get ready to go out on the road and play LSU. It's going to be very tough playing down there in Laughlin and finish this season the way your pride and what you do and the way the seniors leave this program and the way the underclassmen have it progress to move on. That's what we got to do.
Let's talk about those seniors when we come back, because I want to give that some room. So when we come back to the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit, we will talk about the seniors on Saturday as the Aggies take on Prairie View. It's 11 o'clock at kick, 10 o'clock for our St. Joseph Health pregame show. We'll continue the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit from Rudy's. Stay with us. This is Aggie football from Learfield. Barker's Heating and Cooling, proud to be the official heating and cooling provider for Aggie Athletics, earning your seal of approval since 1979. A lot has changed since then, but our pride in Aggie football and our commitment to providing great service remains as strong as ever. Gig 'em, Aggies. The Aggies will be taking on Prairie View on Saturday at Kyle Field. 11 o'clock is the kick, 10 o'clock with our pregame show. And on that Saturday, Jimbo, the seniors, their final game, you've said this to me before, you get 28 games at Kyle. Unfortunately, COVID took that number down a little bit. But you said something Monday that really struck me. The for lack of a better phrase, the student athletes you inherited bought in, and you have so much respect for them.
Yeah, listen, I wasn't the one to recruit a lot of these guys. Some of the seniors I have that were the first-year, 4-year guys, but the others I didn't. And for them, let me tell you something. When you're an athlete and all of a sudden the coach changes, you're thinking, okay, this guy didn't recruit me. Does he know me? Does he like me? Do I fit in? Do I have a future? I just made the biggest commitment of my life. There's a lot to do. And you got to get to know them. And you can't answer that question until you see them. I'll be honest with you. But you got to be honest with them. And for them to buy into what he don't know me, what we believe in, how we do things. And for them to do that and buy in like they have and been such the contributors and the things they've had made a difference in this organization, you have the utmost respect for that, because that takes trust. That takes faith. And that doesn't always work in today's world. And those guys have done that. They've done a great job of that and been a huge part of the cultural change and the things that we're doing for the future and laying the groundwork for. And I have the utmost respect for them.
And even more, the love, trust, believe for them?
Oh, yeah, it is. They have to. And that was, that was from their soul. It wasn't from somebody sitting in a living room with them. That they knew. That's a different kind.
It was in his first season, Buzz Williams was asked towards the end of the season, wow, this is going to really be special when you get your guys. And he stopped and he said, these are my guys.
They're all our guys.
Yeah.
Listen, that's you inherited those guys. Listen, they have been as close to anybody you've ever recruited. There's no your guys, my guys, any of that stuff. I don't believe in that. And for one, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to them. They have a certain window of opportunity to do things, and they're all our guys. They're all our family.
The one thing I keep thinking about on a Saturday, and I know there's a game after against LSU, but when you make the point of teams are only together for a very short time. You're here 4 years, but this team is only this year in these 6 months.
I say this all the time. A team has a 1-year life expectancy. That's it. But really, it's 6 months, because the final guys don't come in until June. You're done in December, January. That's all together, that whole group of guys. That's all you're really all together. And every time you add one piece, it changes the dynamic. That's why I say you get it to a certain point, and you got the new guys in and how they add to it and what they do, and you got to get that chemistry. It's a lot more challenging. That's where the culture, and that's where your upperclassmen and those seniors, inviting those new guys in, showing them the way to do things, the way we want to do things, how we want to do things. not demanding it, but being like big brothers to them. And that's a big difference. And for those guys to bond in that amount of time, and that leadership and those seniors are huge in that.
You've always said players recruit players.
They do. I mean, you can sit, and the coach can tell you everything in the world. He can tell you, and he can have you ready, and you do. You build a relationship. But you go with the players, and you walk out of the room as a coach, and he's with one of the guides or one of our players who's showing him around. I say, man, he's crazy. That's either he's crazy, that ain't the way it is, or that is the way it is. He's telling you the truth. You know what I mean? And if you recruit great classes, there's a lot of inner workings of your team that are very, very strong. They have to be. Or the kids would destroy the recruiting part of it, telling kids not to come here. You know what I'm saying? And what to do. And our kids are that bond, that relationship. And listen, we're hard, tough, and we challenge them. But at the same time, we're fair, honest, and never going to do anything to them I wouldn't get on my own kids about. You know what I'm saying? Or do things like that. And I think that's what you got to have. You asked me the other day, I didn't lie to them. I always had their best interests at heart. I'd do whatever in the world for them, and I'd back them 1,000% in anything they ever went to. And that's it. But I'd also chew the bud out if they're wrong and tell them they're wrong, if that's what it is. And I think people, listen, all you can be is honest to people and straight up. And I think people respect that, and our players understand that.
When the underclassmen are so excited they want to play their best, so the seniors' last game at Kyle. That's part of culture,
Out of respect. That's out of respect. Mm-hmm. That word, that's a word that we, I ain't liked. What about the word respect? And respect is earned. You can trick people into liking you all you want. You can make people like you. You can buy, they say you buy friends, you do anything. But respect is different. And that's what I try to tell them. You owe it to these guys and what they get to do and for what they've put on the line to send them out the right way, do the right things. And that's what we're trying to do, and hopefully we will.
Also on Monday, I wrote down here that if you get a chance, if you ever get to hear what Jimbo said on Monday about your words about DeMarvin Leal, your words about Kenyon Green, your words about Seth Small, reminded me of when you said, what are they going to say to you at your 20-year reunion? But for guys like that, when they hear you use the words to describe those guys, and I know you do it for all your players, but it really stands out that there's that respect for these players, and especially the young men they are. You really don't talk about the player. You talk about the young man himself.
If he's not a great young man, he's usually not a very good player. I mean, he may have talent and he may make plays, but that's not a player. A lot of people make plays. The guys in the critical moments, those critical situations, have the character. Listen, I always say that when the person grows, the student grows, the player grows, everything grows. And you learn, as I say, players, and as you evolve as a young human being. And there's certain parts of this world we're scared to death of. They say, well, kids, he's a bad kid or he don't want to. Well, he's probably scared to death. He's never been in that environment. Kids, we all fight environments we don't want to be part of. Where you come from and you interact with people. When you grow and learn to interact with people and be around people that you never thought you could ever interact with, and hey, they're just like me. I can do this. And you grow as a person. You grow in the knowledge. You grow in the world. The interactions you have. It's amazing how your confidence grows. And then you understand. You grow as a student. You grow as a player. Everything gets better. And that's the key in this whole thing. It ain't developing players. It's developing people. Then all the other things fall in place.
I love watching Antonio Johnson play nickel. I love listening to Antonio Johnson say, I'm going to do something for East St. Louis. He sees that bigger picture as well. Yes, it's for him. I'm going to take advantage of this, but this is bigger than me.
But he's giving back to the people who have helped him. He's saying, I give back to the people who really helped me get to where I'm going. I love them. I appreciate what they did. I want them to be proud of what I am doing, not because I'm doing it, because you helped me do it, and we're all part of this. And that's what when you become part of something bigger than you, that's when you evolve and when you really grow and when you play. And that's the challenge today. That is the challenge today in today's world, because we're told that's not true. It's about me, I. But it's funny when the guys who do that, the I things and the me things get 10 times better when they learn to have we things.
Yeah. Wins, right? You get
wheeze and win. But wins, but just the wheeze of the contribution of being part of something bigger than you. Mm-hmm. Then the wins come because it unites everybody. The wins are a byproduct of the process. The wins will never happen if the process isn't there.
So as you go into and want to complete an early signing will be coming, but through recruiting, you have said, I need that guy who sees it's bigger than him. And
then you got to try to keep recruiting that guy, trying to find out more about that guy, having those conversations about that guy. What's important to you? What's not important to you? Where do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? I mean, there's great players sometimes that aren't a fit for programs. It's not about talent. I mean, it's your – and I think that maybe more so now. And we keep saying it every time, but as times change and these things, I think it's important now as it's ever been.
Yeah. You don't tell them they can't play college football. They can't play it here.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, it's just there's a certain thing you have to give, and I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. Maybe I'm too old school in that, but I believe that wholeheartedly. He's
Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. They take on Prairie View on Saturday at Kyle Field. We will continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit here at Rudy's. This is Aggie football from Learfield. The new Brookshire Brothers across from Kyle Field was built for Aggies. There is a bar serving coffee, wine, and beer. 3 for 3 right there. A full-service pharmacy and great values on groceries. You'll love their grab-and-go meals only at Brookshire Brothers. So much more than a grocery store. We continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station with head coach Jimbo Fisher. As the Aggies taking on Prairie View on Saturday, 11:02 foot to ball. As my friend Alan Cannon always tells me every week. 10 o'clock for our St. Joseph Health pregame show all along the network. Jimbo, this is not a question coming in. It's a comment and a pledge from Steven. He says, I solemnly swear if one more reporter asks you about LSU, I will never read another word they write.
Yeah, exactly. I'm tired of it, too.
A couple things I learned on Monday. I learned that you're staying, okay? I also learned you can't fair catch as a quarterback.
Exactly right. You don't get to call them off. When they're running down at you there, you can't. At least on that fair catch, you can stop. When you're a quarterback, you can't. You got to get rid of it, but you can't do it.
That was something. It was interesting because you talked about this, and I want to add on to this. Punt returning and kick returning. And you said punt returners need to be quick, kick returners fast.
Usually because kickoffs are straight line, one cut things and hitting seams from depth. The more speed you got. Now, there's been some that ain't very good, but I mean, the faster that one cut and getting through that hole, it's like a surfer going through a wave, that tunnel. I mean, it's open and it's closed. You got to get through it and you got to hit it and go. Punt returns is more from a standstill position. For everything you do. So you catch, guys are going to be on top. So change of direction, quickness, great ball skills, of course, but acceleration type things are usually, and then you can have both, but you got to have good change of direction and quickness there. I mean, it's just hard to get out of the way and get started that way. And there's so many little cuts you got to make, in the beginning of it generally.
In the back of the room, I'm sitting next to Dave Elmendorf, and they're talking about punt returning, and Dave turns to me and under his breath he goes, try catching one in San Francisco.
With the wind.
With the wind. He fumbled one. It was at Candlestick. He recovered that fumble. That's the only one he ever dropped. But
they're hard, man.
Yeah, but there is a toughness. But you wanted to make sure that Anais, there's a lot. You've got to be smart.
Oh, you got to be smart. You be intelligent. When to take chances, what not. You got to process a lot of information, judging things, because there's people coming at it from 2 or 3 different ways. I mean, and your eyes are not. You may say, watching that punt. Well, how close is he? How close is he? Do I fair catch? Do I not fair catch? I mean, there's a ton of things. It's a very, very challenging thing.
There's indoors, outdoors, different time of the day. Catching it at night, like with
rain,
the lights and all of that.
Wind. Yeah. I mean, you're looking up and it's pouring rain. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's drops in your eyes, and I mean, there's tons. That's the thing that we are blessed more so in the South not to have to deal with as much as people in other parts of the country. The weather parts of the game. I mean, you get the rain and the wind, you get that, but I mean, you're talking about cold, you're talking about ice, you're talking about snow, you're talking about wind. And I always said, we evaluate in pro football a lot, too. The guys' numbers. And where did these guys play? They play in domes? They play in warm weather? Did they play in Green Bay? Did they play in New England? Did they play in Buffalo? I mean, the wins at Buffalo and the Giants in the old Buffalo Bills Stadium used to come off at one end, man. It was, I mean, you could throw great balls, and they'd be scud missiles to the side. I mean, New York, those conditions and cold balls and wet, and I mean, it's a challenge to learn to do those things.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at the flags
compared to conditions, even in the South warm weather. Indoor kickers too. Talk about kickers. I mean, that's why Vinatieri was amazing to me. All those snow kicks. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day and all those things. That's a different animal now.
Ball doesn't fly as much in the cold either.
Well,
right?
Exactly. Well, and that's how teams are built different. Yeah. You look at those teams that are built different up north a lot of times. It used to be, especially in pro. Now they're getting more so similar now, but pro football used to be, the running games, because late in the season, playoff, and you had to go up there to play in playoff games. Remember the old San Diego Chargers all those years had all those great teams, but they'd always have to go north somewhere and to play a playoff game or get caught in that snow and go to Pittsburgh or Cleveland or or not. It was Cincinnati with them.
Cincinnati was the famous one.
Them, but Pittsburgh and all those those big. That's a different animal when you got to win in those environments.
Now, even though the weather is there, you're built for those environments, right? The way you want to play.
Exactly. You got to throw it and you got to run it. That's why I say, I guess maybe that's the old background in me that allows you to do both in bad weather situations, still being able to run the football.
He's Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. We'll continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We've got more questions from you when we return. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance wants to give you a VIP Aggie basketball fan experience this year. Here's what you do. You go to 12man.com/maroon contest. That's where you register. One winner and a guest will receive game tickets, a VIP tour of Reed Arena, and they will be recognized on the video board during the game. You can register today at 12man.com/maroon contest. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance is a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. How you doing over there with pictures?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
He's Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. Jimbo, question came in. What do you look for in a walk-on?
Somebody who, first of all, you have to have certain abilities we make sure they have. But I also want to see a guy, and I ask the question, do you understand what you're getting into? I mean, walk-ons is a tough life. I mean, we love them and are a vital, vital, vital part of our success. But do you understand there's going to be a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hard work? And sometimes you're not going to see the rewards as far as results and some of the things you have. And why are you interested in doing it? And we try to let them understand this is a very tough road, because you get the work and all that, but sometimes you don't get enough recognition, the opportunities, and when you do get opportunities, you got to maximize them in what you do. But usually those are very selfless, special young men. Some of the most special players I've ever had, because some of the most successful people after ball I've ever had. Again, learning to be part of something else, learning to be part of something and not thinking they may get a lot out of it, but still have that dream and opportunity that they can earn a scholarship. They can be the 12th man. They can be all those different things that there are. And to me, walk-ons are very special. And I chew their butts out just as hard as I chew the other guys. And people say, why are they walk-ons? I said, because they're part of this team. They're no different than the scholarship players. They're exactly the same way. I think I'm the same way. They got a job to do. They got to do that job. And it would be wrong to treat them differently. But I do try to pat them on the butt as much as I possibly can. Probably don't do it enough. But have great respect for those guys. And we could not do what we do and be as successful as we have without the walk-on program we have.
Do they also get a chance to prove something to themselves?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I say, why are you doing it? What are you trying to get out of it? And some of them are. I mean, it gets tough, and I understand if guys can't go through with it all the time. I mean, but at the same time, man, if you can do that in college football, especially at this level, the character you have is unbelievable.
Philip's question, he's going to go right to Prairie View now, okay? Against Prairie View, will you be focusing on resting the starters or practice your game plan against LSU?
No, I won't practice our game plans against Prairie View. I don't have a game plan for LSU yet. We're in Prairie View. One game, it don't matter who we play. It's how we play. And there's only thing we've worked on all week is Prairie View, and that is it. I promise you. We need to play well against Prairie View. That's it.
Philip, you're tough. I'm telling you right now. You're tough. But it also tells me you did your homework. That's what it tells me, because you're here. Thank you for that question. Absolutely appreciate it. Jimbo, who's one coach, Ian's question for you as he does every week, who's one coach from football history you wish you could have worked with?
Wow. I mean, there's a ton. There really are. And I think, I was blessed to be with Coach Bowden, who's one of the all-time greats. But, yeah. I think of course, everybody wanted to be around Vince Lombardi and how you did. There was such a great respect there. But, Chuck Noll, I grew up as a Steeler guy, and the ordinary things and how Chuck was, and he's still underrated. Still doesn't get the appreciation, in my opinion, for how great a coach he was and what he did, how he did things. In the college game, a guy that always intrigued me was John McKay. I always said that. Mm-hmm. Again, he grew up 8 miles from me. Right in between Nick and I. Right in between us. And, just the success he had at SC and the kind of personality he was, kind of things he was, you know what I mean? I think as a kid, I liked SC a little bit. That was one of they were on TV. And I said, everybody in my hometown loved Notre Dame. So that was the only team beating Notre Dame back in the late 60s and 70s, so I rooted for USC. I had to want to root against them. It had to be different. I wanted to root against them. You know what I mean? But, of course, the other one, too. I would love to have been around Bear Bryant. I've coached with so many guys that have been around him.
Yeah.
And the great history he had here and who he was. And I've heard guys, it's the things they say about him, not just knowledge of the game, but presence, mystique, understanding how to deal with people, how to deal with hand things. He was a tough, mean son of a gun. We knew all that, all those things. But that's the way the times were. That's the culture of the world back then. But I've worked with a lot of guys who were around him, you know what I mean, and just hearing him and then say certain things, it just used to catch my eye about he had to plant this and that, and how he used to see guys and do guys and get guys. You know, if you go back and look, the amazing thing about him of all the coaches, probably, and he took pride in this, and he said, a lot of people coach the great player better than me. I don't think anybody coaches the ordinary player better than me. And that was a statement of his that he always had, because remember, John David Crow was the only Heisman Trophy winner he ever had. Mm-hmm. He never had one. All those 6 national championships, today they give you one because as soon as you win a national championship, that's the automatic Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, that's in today's time. I don't mean that to disrespect, but that's, he never had one. No. Think about it. All those years at Alabama and win 13 SEC championships, 6 national championships, never had a Heisman Trophy winner. All the great players, and it was about team and just that concept, I think, was very intriguing to me. That's one of the things about him when I think about him. Not just the wins and the success, but how it was achieved. The blue-collar process of going about that and doing those things.
And yet he adapted as well in his career.
Oh, they all adapt. I mean, he broke down and run the wishbone. Remember, people forget, there was 2 years they tried to fire him. He was 6-5 2 years in a row. And then they finally came and he learned the wishbone. And then they had the great deck that, they changed from throwing because they had Joe Namath and Kenny Stablers and Steve Sloans and Pat Trammell's and all those guys. They won those national championships then, and then went to the wishbone in the 70s, and then became, I think there was a documentary supposed to come out called The Bone Boys or something.
Oh, really?
Somebody said they were doing one like they did with the
Junction Boys.
Junction Boys here. They were trying to do something from the wishbone when they made that transition to the wishbone and had the success that was going on. I mean, but I think but Coach Bowden did. See, Coach Bowden, people forget, Coach Bowden was a split back veer guy. Uh-huh. Coach Bowden was an old split back veer. And threw the ball and did that. Then he went to I formation, Greg Allen, and all the 80s, and that's the offense kind of I played. All the way through, and then play action pass, sprint draw pass, throw it down the field, square ends, corners, posts, and then all of a sudden people forget Coach Bowden was the first no huddle guy. Charlie Ward and the boys back in the early 90s, they were one of the first ones. One of the first teams that evolved to that no huddle and then spread the field and do all that and played. I mean, and coach, those great ones always evolve and have those changes and things in which they do.
Bobby knew that team speed kills.
Oh, it did, and he had it, and he timed Florida up just at the right time.
Yeah.
I mean, to get in there when the boom of, you know what started the boom of Florida? Air conditioning.
Yeah.
You joke about the truth. That's exactly right. And people started being able to move to Florida and go to the southern states. And Florida, because back in the day, the best players in the country most of them were in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Mm-hmm. That's where all your steel mills, that's where your jobs, that's where your coal mines, that's where all your people were. That's where the economy of the United States was in the Northeast. That's why Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn, all that type of. Remember Pitt when Jackie was there? I mean, those teams that Jackie had, and Johnny Majors, they had phenomenal teams. Yeah. Back in those days, and then people started moving south. Yep. And then Florida took off and be able to recruit those guys, and then they went to the speed and all that type of stuff, in which they played.
Those guys who would like
the evolution of the game is amazing.
It really is. It's fascinating to watch.
And watch how the power trends of population, where population growths are, and that's why I love. I mean, we're right here in Dallas and Houston. We're in number 3 and number 5, and we love football in Texas a little bit, so we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot.
Really, really good spot. Aggies and Prairie View on Saturday. We'll have more on that. We'll have more of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. Stay with us. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. We thank you all for checking in on Facebook. We go behind the mic on the Texas A&M Football Facebook page. And we've got Julio from Connecticut, Franklin, Nebraska has checked in, Metairie, Louisiana, Columbus, Ohio, Russell, Kansas, and as always, Australia. Nick's uncle has checked in. That's all that matters. The Nick, by the way, when we say it, is Nick Constantinu. Football and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood, and Rudy smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. We will come back to Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station, for another segment of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. Come on back. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. We all know that queso practically flows through the veins of every Texan, and at Costa Vida Fresh Mexican Grill, queso is their pro-style offense. Costa Vida is proud to partner with Texas A&M Athletics. We continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. So glad that you are with us on this evening, talking Aggie football as they get set to take on Prairie View. That will be on Saturday at 11 o'clock at Kyle Field. 10 o'clock, the St. Joseph Health pregame show. Dave Elmendorf and I will join you then for that one. And someone has checked in on Facebook, said that they watched Dave as an L.A. Ram. Yep, played there in the 70s. Dave also brought up during Jimbo's media availability on Monday, every time one of the Aggie players were saying faceless opponent, my partner's back there going, amen, amen, absolutely faceless. And
people don't understand that. Like you shouldn't. Who you play doesn't determine how you play. I mean, you have emotions game, but when you're right and that culture of your team is right, it's about your standard. Yeah, it's about your preparation, your intensity, your focus, your execution, and people have a hard time believing that, but it's the truth. It is the truth. You know, I say, I heard him on TV one time. How does Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus make those putts? They're not thinking about making a putt. They're thinking about what they have to do to hit the putt right, which allows it to be made. Mm-hmm. And that's how you play in practice.
You said after a walkthrough, the greatest respect you can give an opponent is to play your best.
Yes, whoever you play. Mm-hmm. The game is about respect. Give them your best on every play of everything you do with class and dignity, and that's your job.
So, Jim, class of 65's question is, what is Prairie View's strongest feature? Is it the offense? Is it the defense? Or what does each do well?
Well, I think they're both very well. They're 7-2. They've built a great culture there. They're winning. Defensively, they're very aggressive. They blitz. Backers number 6 can really play. I mean, he's all over the place. 0, their nickel and corner is really good. Number 1 inside is athletic. Ends are long. Safeties can tackle. They play very hard, play very sound on defense. Offensively, quarterback's big, athletic. They're 3 and 4 wides. Throwing the ball, they can run. The guy's 2 little slots that can fly. Big receiver can catch the football. Is physical. The back is really athletic. Linemen do a good job and very sound on special teams. And if they, after our game, no matter what happens in our game, if they win their next game, which is a conference game, they're playing for the SWAC championship. I believe against Jackson State for the championship. So this is a very good football team.
You made a point on Monday to make sure.
Julie's done. And understand this staff, their offensive and defensive coaching staff have won 2 historical black national championships at Arkansas Pine Bluff and at Southern. And they were at Southern when I was at LSU, 2003. Won the national championship at LSU in 2003. They were over at Southern winning, and I think they lost 0 in 1 game that season. I know those guys. They were really good coaches.
It's funny. We talked in the beginning of the season about seeing different things from the Kent States and from New Mexico with a Rocky Long as a defensive coordinator. Now that you get through it's all those different looks. The players have to adjust during the week to what they're going to see.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the ability to learn, be able to pick up new concepts, offense, defense, what you're going against both ways, and that's the challenge. I mean, the intelligence level and ability to learn is you talk about great players and great things, but the great ones can all process information and learn and remember it and regurgitate it and apply it.
Is it a little different now, Jimbo, later in the season as opposed to week 1 in Kent State for your younger players? They have more information?
Well, they have more information, which can be good or bad. Mm-hmm. Your computer glitches sometimes, don't it? I mean, as I call some of those young players get that tired mind. I mean, they don't realize how long and grinding and grueling a college football season is. And as I say, they got to catch that second wind. And from that now, and the other thing is, but sometimes it's easier in that at least you know what a team's going to do. Those early games, I hate them. I've been in game 35. I hate them. You still do not know. They could do anything in the world in the offseason to change, and you don't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they've gotten 8 or 9 or 10 games on film. I mean, they may have some wrinkles, but still, I think, the majority of things you do will be similar. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's 6 one way, half dozen the other.
Totally going off the board, Michael R. Do you help with Thanksgiving dinner? And if you do, what do you cook? What do you know
I
for?
stuff the turkey and do the dressing, and I'm up all night, night before, and all that stuff. No, I'm not. I promise. I eat real well. No, I mean we're in practice and do all. We're in ball and doing all that. But I love the holidays. Like this Wednesday nights, we'll have next Wednesday night they'll have our coaches will have their individual player. I mean their position players over for dinner at their house.
Nice.
They'll do all that, and then we'll have a team. Then we'll have a team Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday. And then if they have their families in town or whatever, they can have their own. But we'll try to do that and for all of them that way.
I love the holiday because it's a family holiday.
Yeah, it's a family. I mean, that's what holidays are all about. I mean, the families and the get-together and the meaning of it. And listen, we have a lot to be thankful for.
We certainly do. Truer words never spoken right there. We've got one more segment of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. That will be next. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show is brought to you by Capital Farm Credit. Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. And my thanks to Capital Farm Credit. They are with us every single week. They are always here every single week. By the way, I got to let you all know, I'm going to Vegas next week. Now, unless we take this show to Vegas, this is my last time seeing y'all this season for football. Thank you for all being here. All season long, every single week. This is what makes it so special. We absolutely missed this all of last year. And I know he did because he was stuck with me in the studio in the south end zone of Kyle Field. So I just cannot thank you enough for spending part of your days and nights. And we changed the time on you, and you were here. And I wasn't sure how it was going to be, but you all responded. And it's just because of the atmosphere and everything Jimbo says, thank you so much for that. And I will be thinking of you. And if I need money for gambling next week, I'm going to give you all a call, okay? Because basketball is in Vegas. It's where the Maui Invitational has been moved. They call it the Maui Invitational now in the desert. There's sand. There's just no beach, unfortunately. So we will be there on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as the Aggies will play Wisconsin on Monday. Aggies won today, 73-39 over HBU. I always look for you in the stands when it's basketball today. Volleyball, Coach Bird playing Arkansas as we speak. A match against Arkansas. Gary Blair, he's going to be there tomorrow against former team of his, Stephen F. Austin. It was busy at Reed Arena, and I know,
awesome.
I know it's your season.
I wish I could get over there right now. Give me a week and a half. Give me a week and a half. We'll be going.
That is exactly right, but that just makes it makes it so much fun. And you know, I also like
great coaches and great people.
I love
here.
To see the other student athletes supporting other student athletes.
Exactly right.
I love that.
And we have great coaches in all of our sports, and they're very supportive of us. And I love everything they do and wish them nothing but the best.
Yeah, it's the collection, Jimbo, is impressive.
Yeah.
And again, the right way.
Yes, exactly right.
They know what's important. I always like to ask you, what do you want to see on Saturday against Prairie View by the Aggies?
I want to see us. I mean, we talk about the fundamentals, the turnovers and big plays. I want to say play fundamental football, error-free football, eliminate the negative plays, the self-inflicted wounds, and start fast and finish strong and play with a smile on your face and enjoy yourself and play your heart out. And play and understand how much you love being on Kyle Field, playing in that stadium in front of those fans and the 12th man and making them happy. But enjoy yourself and play as a team. Enjoy it. The dreams you had your whole life dreaming in that backyard of being where you're at, and you're there. Take advantage of them and play your tails off.
You said something Monday I thought was interesting. You don't like when players are sad. Right, when they get caught.
Last games, yeah. I mean, it's. I've had it cost me some really big situations. I mean, guys, it like hits them. You know, you don't. Oh, they're all right, and you don't believe. I mean, how much is something you've done, and the last time you're ever going to be a part of it? Some guys play pro ball. Some guys, it's the last time they'll ever play. Mm-hmm. At least they ever play in a stadium for sure. We got one more after this one being an away game.
Right.
But, I mean, you know, it can happen that way, and it you just don't. And sometimes it just dawns on you then. I mean, how it's been 22, 23 years of every blood, guts, tears, and everything I did was dream of doing this, and I did it. You know what I mean? And it's coming down, and it's like anything in life.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Now my last words. Thank you to you. You open up your office to me every Wednesday to talk with you, and here every week. An absolute joy to do this.
Well, that's the same way here. You make it easy to do, and you do a great job.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. He's Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, and he and the Aggies will be there on Saturday at Kyle Field to take on Prairie View. Once again, we will tell you that our St. Joseph Health pregame show, that begins at 10 o'clock on Saturday, and then the kick between the Aggies and the Panthers will come at 11 o'clock, and that will be all along the network. And we can tell you, you can download that 12th Man mobile app. You can also download the Varsity Network app. That is from Learfield, and you can catch the Aggies no matter where you are, or catch us on the Texas A&M Sports Network. But it has been a blast. Another edition of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit. Our thanks to Rudy's as well for hosting us every week. Kevin Menchow's our engineer. The incomparable Tony O'Neill is the producer of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show in our Learfield studios. Howdy, Abby. For Jimbo Fisher, I'm Andrew Monaco. We thank you so much for joining us this week and all season long. This is Aggie Football from Learfield.